Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Mackey, President and CEO of the Somerville Chamber. Welcome to another edition of the Chamber's Turning 21 series, sponsored by Winter Hill Bank. This program is being recorded. First, I'm going to start off with a few words about the Chamber. I'm going to ask everybody to make sure that they're muted. This chamber is an independent local business association supported by the voluntary dues and sponsorships of 250 plus businesses, property owners, and nonprofit organizations. This chamber is not a city government agency. It is not affiliated with any political action committee and does not participate in any election campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office, federal, state, or municipal. We do share a common interest in our urban quality of life with all the people of Somerville. For that reason, the Chamber has been involved in public discussions and movements in favor of such matters as transit-oriented development, upzoning, zoning reform, clean energy and life sciences development, outdoor dining, and a new Somerville High School. To explore these and other issues, we will be hosting a series of open discussions. At noon on Tuesdays in June, the Chamber will be featuring candidates for mayor. The format for these one-hour events will be to give each candidate the opportunity to first introduce themselves in their campaign, maybe for 10, 15, 20 minutes or so, and second, participate in a question and answer session with our audience members. So please keep your video on and your audio muted. When it is time for questions, I will recognize people who simply raise their hand virtually or for real to the camera, or who write questions in the chat. I will try to get to everyone before the conclusion of the program at 1 p.m. Today's featured candidate was the first on record to take out nomination papers for the office of Mayor of Somerville. To deliver his introductory remarks, please welcome William Billy Tauro.
Steve, thank you, and thank you everyone for inviting me here today. I apologize for conducting this interview from my car. I'm actually at the Woodlawn Cemetery here in Everett right now. A good friend of mine who's a longtime Somerville resident, Ken Medeiros, was just buried 5 minutes ago. So the importance of being here outweighed sitting in my office to do this video, so that's why I'm here. So I apologize doing it from my car. My name is William Billy Tauro. I'm from Somerville. I believe in strong businesses. I believe in strong neighborhoods. I want to be a mayor for all. I'm sure the city can use a lot of improvements. Over the years, I've watched businesses fall and decline throughout the city. I've watched them move out. Recently, in the past month, maybe 4 of them. They're good friends of mine, too. They left the city. I see people moving out of the city. It's too much money for them to afford to even live in the city. Even if they can live in the city, there's nowhere to park in the city. We just built a beautiful $300 million high school with zero parking. And, you know, I see people getting discouraged in all the side streets. Where are 1,700 students and teachers going to park? They're pulling into their streets, into the driveway. So, I want to be able to fix the parking problems in the city. I want to fix the traffic and parking department as well. And I think that the DPW Inspection Services needs a major overhaul, the complete third floor, and as well as the Inspection Services Department. You can read more about my outline at www.williamtauro.com. That's williamtauro.com. There's 4 pages of a complete outline of all my proposals, including the HAND project, which is Help a Neighbor in Distress project, and the Hub Initiative. Hub Initiative is it's a good project. It's being done through Chelsea with the Chelsea Police right now, and I want to bring that project into the Somerville. And if you go onto my website, you can read up more about it, what it does. It pertains to the Somerville Police Department and mental health. But I'm ready for any questions anyone has to offer.
I'll start off. May I call you Billy?
You may call me anything you want.
Billy. Could you talk a little bit more about, your experience and how life has prepared you for this, taking on this job?
I've run businesses for over the past 40 years. I've been through some of those business community, interacted with, I think 99% of the business throughout the city. I've hung around with the best people around, Gene Brune, Dorothy Kelly Gay. I've learned a lot through experience. I've watched other mayors, I've watched them succeed and I watched them fail. I looked at their problems, made my notes over the past 40 or 50 years. I've interacted with all the seniors for the past 40 years as well. I've interacted with all our veterans. I've interacted with all our business owners, our homeowners, the residents. I'm very big with the Brazilian, Portuguese, and Italian communities. I'm big into the immigrants. I'd like to see them get a nice fair start, all the immigrants get a fair start in opening and operating businesses in the city of Somerville. I have plans for businesses and programs for them. So I think I'm ready to take on this job. Steve, you're muted.
You're ready to open it up to other questions?
Yes.
All right. If anybody would like to raise their hand, I have two screens here of people that, if you want to raise your hand on camera. I see Wiley.
Am I ready to ask a question?
Yes, go right ahead.
Mr. Tauro, you've had multiple bankruptcies and multiple large debts dismissed by those bankruptcies, but you drive around in a very expensive Hummer and also seem to have a boat. And I was wondering if you'd care to maybe explain or talk a little about those discrepancies.
Sure, no problem. In the past, my family and myself, we've done very good in the past, very well. But around the 1998, around 1998, I took serious illness. I was sick for about 20 years. I went through multiple surgeries. I lost everything I had. I couldn't run a business anymore. I couldn't work. It was just bad. Like I said, through multiple surgeries through the Mount Auburn Hospital, local hospitals throughout the state. I picked myself up and I'm back together now.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody else who would like to ask a question? Mr. Kane, Pat Kane.
Hi. Over the past 5 or 6, maybe 10 years, the city has picked up a significant amount of debt. Some of it for the high school, some of it for the Green Line, some of it for infrastructure improvements, some of it for other kind of stuff. Could you tell us a little bit about how you're planning on dealing with that? As business owners, the standard answer is raise taxes on business.
Well, that is the standard answer, yes. But yeah, we've just picked up another $5 million debt with the Armory, which I don't think we needed. To me, I think it was an illegal eminent domain taken. The owner still wanted that property and the city took it. So that's $5 million more of debt we took. I think we got to have the businesses start paying their fair share of the taxes. But in order for a business to pay their fair share of their taxes, they have to first succeed. They have to succeed, and they'll all be willing to pay their taxes. But if they can't succeed, it's going to be a struggle for them. They go out of business, then all the debt falls on all the taxpayers. To begin with something like that, you got to relax the parking situation in Somerville. If I don't know about everybody else, but if I can't park there, excuse me. If I can't park there, I won't drive there. If there's no parking spaces, the customer base for that business is gone. It's writing on the wall. He's going to feel. You look at Somerville Ave. They put 25-foot sidewalks on each side, taking away hundreds of parking spaces. How are those local businesses supposed to survive? If that business, like you take Mario from Somerville Computer there on Somerville Ave across the police station, how's he supposed to pay his rent, pay his employee, put food on his table if he can't get customers in there to conduct business with him? That's how the struggle starts. That's how they can't stay and pay their fair share of taxes, and that's how the burden falls on a taxpayer. Like I said, I want to relax all the parking throughout the city. I want to give the shopkeepers and the business owners a fair chance. This city should have been opened up 4 months ago. We were the only city in the state still at 25% up to Saturday. We have 2 VFW posts throughout the whole city, 2, and we were the only 2 closed on the entire Eastern Seaboard. Why? If you go down Davis Square, you'll see multiple outdoor restaurants and everything like that. But you know, that's fine and dandy. But how are you supposed to park to go to them outdoor restaurant venues? Why didn't we in the past few months just reopen all the restaurants? Let them practice their social distancing right inside their businesses and use the parking available outside for their customers. Everything's backwards in the city. You're not giving the businesses a chance to survive and pay their fair share of taxes. And of course, I know if I had a business going right now, I'd love to pay my taxes. But if you can't pay it, they go out.
Okay. All right. Anybody else would like to raise a hand?
Steve, I thought you had a sellout show today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good crowd. It's a good crowd.
Looks like Adam and Tom have questions.
Tom Bent.
Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Good. Bill, could you give us, say, two or three initiatives that you would want to do right off the, as soon as you get in office? It could be business related or non-business related, something that, kind of like you want to get done in your first, few months of being mayor.
I can give you a complete list of it. First, I'd like to bring back all the parking. I heard they're taking away the parking on College Ave and Highland Ave and the rest of Broadway. I want to put all the parking back. I want to increase the parking in the city. I want to give the business owners a chance. I want to reopen the McGrath Highway overpass. I want to give Union Square a chance. I want that business back flowing. Right now, you got people passing Somerville on that McGrath Highway overpass up by the old Sunoco station where it used to be, and they're bypassing Somerville. They have to go to Twin City Plaza to get into Somerville. By then, our square's bypassed completely. So Union Square businesses are starving. The first thing I want to do is reopen that overpass. I want to increase the parking in the city. I'd like to add 275 parking spaces to the new high school. That high school was $300 million. It's made to house 1,700 students and 300 teachers. Where are they supposed to park? I went and visited that high school a month and a half ago with my staff, talked to the gym teacher. I go, I got to ask you something. It's a beautiful school. Everything's perfect. But where do you park? This place was built with zero parking, zero. He said, Mr. Tauro, he says, this is my second day back and I got my first parking ticket yesterday. If I get one more, myself and 5 other teachers are leaving. So if a teacher has to drive around for an hour just to get a parking spot, say it's rainy, windy, snowy, whatever, that teacher is going to be one pissed off person. And how's that going to reflect on our students when that student goes in there? So I want to increase the parking in the city. I want to put the parking back on the high school. And I want to shift that fee over to Tufts University. Let them pay for the parking. They're paying only $400,000 out of $4.2 million of tax revenue they should be paying on all their properties. Let them pay their fair share on it. I'd like to bring together, I know everyone in the world, especially in Somerville, is saying they want to fund the police. I want to increase their budget. I want to, like I said, it's a hub initiative. They're using it in Chelsea right now with the Chelsea police, and it involves more community outreach. And it's a system, it's a program where, say, it's a family domestic or an OUI or something related to medical or drug related. The hub initiative would go in there with the council and the police, and they would make a situation to go terribly wrong into making it go terribly right. It could be bypassed, not let the guy have a criminal record, not let the guy have to, be away from his family, spend thousands in court. I want to bring the hub initiative to Somerville. Also, I want to put together, it's called the HAND Project. It's called Help a Neighbor in Distress. In the old days, a neighbor would help a neighbor. Today, a neighbor doesn't even know a neighbor. If a neighbor needs something shoveled out, they would shovel it out. And I don't mean by using a city DPW either, bulldozer either. I'm talking about help a neighbor shovel out a parking lot, help them cut the grass, whatever they need. If a neighbor can't find someone to do it, we'll find somebody in a program, it'll be a pool. It'll be a pool with people with the right objectives, the right skill that want to participate in that project. That's only a few to mention.
Steve, I could follow up on you mentioned McGrath Highway. And
yes.
So the state's looking at grounding McGrath Highway and creating a boulevard on that. Where would you be on that one?
Well, I think there's a little misinterpretation there because prior to Mayor Curtatone closing the overpass off-ramp down and the tunnel beneath it, I think we just still spent like over $2.5 million, if I'm not mistaken on the amount. I could be wrong on the amount, but we just redid that entire overpass, I think a year or two before he closed it down. But now I heard through the DOT and McGrath and the state that they're going to be, there's a new project coming to redo McGrath Highway and add bus and bike lanes to it. So I think they're regrounding this off the table right now. If to reground it would be nice. That would be our own Route 1. That would be perfect. Traffic would be flowing right through Union Square through Ward 2 over there. That would be perfect. But until then, I want to see that thing reopened.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question in the chat from Ron Newman. And it's, what are your plans for completing the Art Farm project in Brick Bottom? And for, managing the armory? And what changes, if any, would you make at the Arts Council current operations and event programming?
It's an interesting question. Regarding the Arts Farm, the way I would complete it is to begin it. Begin doing something. Nothing's been begun yet. Start the project. I will make sure whatever project they will have committees in there to make sure it's a good project. Once it starts, we'll push to get it done. The Armory project, I need a little time to think about that on my feelings to it, because I'm not too keen about it being taken eminent domain right now, because we didn't need that expense. And what was the other one you mentioned?
It's generally about the Arts Council's operations and event programming, and in particular about the completing the Art Farm.
Yeah, like I said, the Art Farm, I'd like to start that project and really push through it. And the Arts Council, I'd like to increase their budget, give them more things for the people of Somerville, increase the festivals, increase doing everything we've been doing, but start doing it. Bring the Memorial Day parade back to Somerville. Bring a Veterans Day parade back to Somerville. Let's give people a nice place to stay, live, and work and play.
All right. Is there anybody else who would like to raise your hand for a question?
You get Adam.
Adam, how about you?
Yeah, hey, Bill. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming. So you had mentioned affordability at the beginning of this discussion, and I think all of the mayoral candidates and people running for these offices are going to talk about affordability. Can you discuss some of the initiatives being presented in Somerville's and where you stand on them, such as right of first refusal, condo conversion, ordinances, and inclusionary zoning? And where do you stand on those, and where do you think you stand?
I'm sorry?
Where do you stand on those, and where do you stand, do you think, compared to some of the other people running?
Okay. We need more affordable housing. I'm not keen on the first right of refusal, because from my understanding, you're giving them 3 bites at the apple. If I have a tenant, that tenant has 6 months to get get financed, get approved for the loan, get the appraisal and everything. They get 6 months to do the due diligence. After 6 months, from what I heard, it goes to the next tenant. So they get another 6 months. So they got to wait for their loan process. They got to wait to see if they qualify, see if they're past the inspection and so on. Then I heard after they need a 3rd bite of the apple, where they invite a prior tenant who lived there years ago. Hi, I'm so-and-so. You used to live in my apartment. I'm selling the house. I want to give you a first right of refusal. So that person gets another 6 months. It's not fair to the homeowner. By that time, that homeowner's buy is gone. Suppose that homeowner's having financial difficulties themselves. Suppose it's a family want to pass that home down to their kid. Suppose it's a senior that wants to just leave Dodge and go to Florida and retire. You mean to tell me they got to wait 18 months with the hopes of even selling it? And when they have a qualified buyer in front of them, I'm totally against it. Totally against it. I'm for the homeowners. I'm for preserving, protecting homeowners' rights. They can't be infringed upon anymore. They've been infringed upon by illegally taking eminent domain. You got to respect the property owners' rights. Yeah, they have you remember something. Back in the day, I don't like to use the term Slumville, but back in the day, go 40, 50, 60 years ago, that's what it was. And these homeowners and business owners and property owners in general, they stood through thick and thin when Somerville wasn't a pretty place to be. Now it's turned into this glorified city which is turn into a nice place, but you got to make it affordable for them. And you can't take away where they struggled through all these years. You just can't take it away from them and just say, boom, we're going to give you the first right of refusal. You can't do it. So I'm for property rights.
No, I completely agree with you. I was just curious if you had any other ways of creating more affordability, since you're talking about that you want affordability like other people, but
Yes.
for what they put forth, do you have an alternative?
I'd like to see some new affordable housing being developed, units and everything. You know, we thought Assembly Square was going to be a big cash cow there, where their taxes are going to pay for everything and make everything right. But they were allowed discounts for what they're doing. You can't have that. I want to build affordable housing, affordable apartment buildings. I want to get the developers in here. Let them build it. Let them earn their money. They're going to be scrutinized, very heavily scrutinized. They're going to be honest developers. And, you know, I've over the last 20 years, I've seen developers being put through the ringer for no reason at all. And whether it's from the administration or the DPW inspection services, that's all going to end. You know, just to get a developer in here to build affordable housing, it costs them a fortune. It costs just the waiting time alone, the downtime, even if the project, just to get the permit, then to go through to get the work done, then the pre-inspections, the re-inspections, then when the final thing to get their occupancy permit, they've waited 6 months. I've seen people wait 6 months to 8 months for an electrical inspection. Now you're holding up the homeowner, you're holding up the tenant, you're holding up the contractors, you're holding up the bank, you're holding up everything. For what? We need a nice, easy, a friendly, people-friendly system. Let it work through. It'll lower the cost of us doing business and creating these businesses and buildings, and that's how we would get it done.
All right, before we go to the next hand that's raised, I'm going to go to the chat. And we have a question from Andrew Lynn. You've had strong words for the city councilors in the past.
Yes.
Would you apologize or take other measures to improve your relationship with them in the interest of cooperation?
Like I said, when I first logged on here, I'm going to be a mayor for all, for everybody. I will gladly work with them. I'm not going to apologize to anybody, because when I speak something, I speak the truth. If I was lying when I say something, then I would apologize. But when I speak the truth, there is no need to apologize. I want us to work together. I want us to build this community. I want us to run the city for the people, not for themselves, not for any special interest, for the people of Somerville. So to get to that question, I don't apologize to nobody if I said something they disagree with or hurt their feelings. I said it for a reason. But I will work with everybody.
Is there anybody else that would like to raise their hand for a question? Wiley?
Mr. Toro, you said when you speak the truth, when you're speaking the truth. I believe several weeks ago on the internet, you claimed that you used to own my home in Roxbury, which was absolutely untrue. I was president of the condo association, and there were 3 other owners, and at no time were you one of those owners. Why did you claim that?
Well, Mr. Wiley, you're on a fishing expedition. Every time I interact with you or see you on Facebook, you're on a fishing expedition. Whether it's about my Hummer, whether it's about my boat. I have 5 boats. I have 5 of them, and I have 2 Hummers. If that makes you happy or makes you sad, I don't know. But you're on a mission. You're on a mission. It looks like you're looking for something that's just not there.
Right.
You're
It
looking
seems,
for something that's just not
all
there.
right,
That's what
it
seems
seems,
like.
it seems that there is a somewhat of a personal strain to this back and forth. So I'm going to ask if we can move on to give other people a chance to ask questions, and maybe keep it more to the issues
Agreed.
than the personal back and forth. There's Jessica Braden had a question on the chat. Somerville has a rich nonprofit community that has been really stretched thin in the last year. Can you speak to how you see in your administration working with you and your administration working with the city's human service organizations? And that's a thank you from Jessica Braden.
Hi, Jessica. Yes. Well, everything's been stretched over the years. You have the COVID. I mean, a lot of budgets have been down. They've all been used up. I'd like to work with all the nonprofits. Whatever they need, I'll have an open door policy. Whatever they need to increase their budgets, whether they have to, I'll do it for them. I will help them out. But everyone's budgets have been stretched because of the pandemic. No one's been making money. Nobody's been going back to work. Just look at City Hall. You know, we're still paying to have people closed at City Hall. City Hall's still not reopened. It's not going to reopen this year. Can anyone tell me why? Well, that's coming out of our city budget. Why is that? There's a lot of problems in the city, and I'm going to fix some problems.
All right. We have another, not seeing any hands yet. I will go.
Come on, I'm ready for you.
Adrian Thompson of Legoland.
Hi, Billy. Thanks for your time today. Obviously, you've talked about the impact on businesses over the course of the pandemic, and you've discussed parking being one of the things that you would look to change to help the economic recovery. For those businesses that aren't impacted by parking issues, what would be your key strategy for aiding the economic recovery of businesses in Somerville?
Well, like I said, the ones that are not affected by parking, I want to give them a tax break, give them a chance to recover what they lost over the past year. Like the restaurants, they couldn't, you know, even if they had a big parking lot, how could they survive on 25%? 25%. It costs you 25% the minute you put your key in the door. You know, Legoland, you have plenty of ample parking there with Assembly Row. But the minute you put the key in the door, 25% is 25%. That's what it costs you. All your profit is gone. So you're going to give them a tax break, give them a chance. Whatever the mayor's office can do, assist them to get ahead and keep it on a conductive pattern. That's what we're going to do.
If I may, Steve, just follow up. And,
Yep.
you know, that's great in terms of offering tax breaks, but we also discussed earlier in terms of the debt load that the city has at the moment. If you were to, your administration was to offer, you know, tax breaks to businesses to help their recovery, which is important. We need to recover the businesses. How would you then cover the shortfall in taxes to help pay back the city debt?
Well, that's an interesting question. I have to think about it a little more before I answer it. But whatever we can do to get these businesses to really go over the top and make their money and be able to afford to pay their taxes and afford to pay what they have to do and take the burden off the taxpayers, that's what we're going to do. But right now, I have to think about that a little further, see how badly damaged the city is. You know, if the city had been open over the past 5 months, 4 months, rightfully so, we wouldn't be in this mess and this hole right now, as bad as we're in. I've stood in line at Legal Seafoods. You know, you go there, they have ample parking, but they're down to 25%. They're hurting. During the middle of the crisis, the owner had to sell the business to another owner. Yeah, I mean, things weren't working out. But now the pandemic's over. We're going to move forward. Whatever I can do in the mayor's office to make that, achieve that, is going to happen.
All right. If we'll go back to the chat for a minute. From Stephen Smith, what?
No, Connor's been trying, he's had his hand up for a while.
All right, I'll come back to you, Connor, in a minute. Stephen Smith has a question. What plans, if any, do you have to improve safety, walkability, and bikeability within the city for non-car owners?
Well, for non-car owners, I'd like to increase police presence in the bike lanes. I would put bike patrols throughout the city where they belong. I would enforce any violators, whether they be violating in an automobile or violators from a bicycle. So, like I said, I strongly enforce enforcement on bicycles and automobiles. I improve I think, you know, you get a lot of people just running red lights. Why? Because the lights are too long. Why don't you shorten the cycle of a light? Maybe it'll help the problem. It'll stop it from happening. You have to increase your police presence out there, but we have to do something about the bike lanes itself, especially by Broadway, where the bus lane and the bike lane turns into two separate lanes where it's combined lane, and it takes away all the parking in front of that building there. It confuses a lot of people. Then you got the other bus and bike lane on Washington Street with the cars in the middle. That's a safety, that's a danger hazard right there, because I talked to the church, the Brazilian church across the street. They get 4 or 5 rear ends a month over there. 4 or 5 people rear ending them cars in the middle a month because people, they see the cars parked on one side, all of a sudden the cars are parked in the middle, in the bike lane, in the bike lane and the bus lane shifting. Some of it's very confusing. We got white poles all over the city. I don't even know what those poles are for. They're ridiculous. Let's reevaluate everything we got here and make this happen, make it work, and we can all work together with this.
All right. Connor Brennan.
Thank you. Billy, thank you for putting yourself forward to run and getting the conversation going.
Thank you.
Question for you, bringing back parking and so on and so forth. Obviously, COVID has changed the landscape for dining and nightlife. And are you opposed to dining and nightlife's parklets?
You mean the outdoor parking, the parklets?
Yes.
Yes, I am opposed to them. Reason being is because it's taking away valuable parking spots throughout the city. If you have ample room in your restaurant, your establishment, that's where your customers should be. And if you have both, where are your customers going to park? If you have room on your own property for outdoor tents or whatnot, that's fine. But we need the parking for the people to park, to pay, to pay the fair share, let them, for the consumers, promote our business, to support our business. Like I said, if I can't go somewhere and I can't park there, I'm not going to do business with you. That's just the way it is. And you got a lot of seniors, the elderly, the handicapped. You're not going to see them on a bike. You're not going to see them on a bus. That's ridiculous. That'll never happen. But if you have the parklets outside, there's one less spot for an elderly person or a handicapped person to park. Where they going to park five blocks away to get in when they could have parked there and frequent your restaurant because you're inside. That's the way it should be.
All right. If we on the chat, we have from Jack's iPad, City Council currently reviewing city charter. Does it need to change? If so, what would you suggest be changed?
Through the past experiences, the mayor had way too much power. That power should be distributed throughout the city council. The mayor had way too much power. And that's where we've been for the past 18 years, including the chief of police job. I plan on putting the chief's position back in the civil service and out of the hands of public political interference. Like I said, when the mayor has that much power, bad things are going to happen.
This is from Joe Bologna. Thanks, Billy, for your time and thoughts. What are your thoughts about the insurrection at the nation's capital on January 6th?
I think it was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. We're a nation of Americans and immigrants. We shouldn't be barging our capital. I was totally against it. I was appalled. It should have never happened. And those who did it all should be prosecuted.
Right. Without the outdoor, this is again from Ron Newman, without the outdoor patios of the past few months, would we even still have the Burren or other restaurants in Davis Square?
Well, the outdoor patios they had for the longest time because of COVID, those were there for a reason to support these restaurants. Now that the COVID emergency crisis is gone, let the Burren re-up. Let them reopen again. If they want to put outdoor seating on the sidewalk, that's fine. But I'm just totally against taking away parking spaces where you need it, especially around Davis Square. Davis Square has the Burren has great food. I love it. I'm a good customer there. But if I can't park there, I'm not going to go there. Where are people supposed to park? I understand Ron Newman doesn't drive a car. He drives a bicycle. And I'm happy for him. But I drive a car. A lot of elderly people drive cars. Handicapped people drive cars. They're not fortunate as Ron Newman to get on a bicycle and pedal away around the city. It just doesn't happen. It's reality.
I see the hand for Pat Kane. Pat, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's probably a hard one. There's a line that people use that say when you vote for president, you're not actually voting for the president, you're voting for their friends because the president has no time and he has to rely on his advisors. I expect that's probably true of the city of Somerville too, because the mayor gets to do a lot of stuff. What kind of people do you think you're going to be using as advisors in your administration?
I'm going to be using wise advisors. I got a good person right now, Teresa DePietro, who's helping me with human services. And we're relocating 3 to 4 homeless people a week. Just the other day, I'm to using her for instance, we had somebody come in my office at 5 o'clock. This person met with us. He was homeless. He was sleeping in the car wash. So the car wash owner was helping him, giving him some money, giving him some food. But he called me, asked me if anything I could do with him. I think it was about a week and a half ago. It was a Monday night. And we had him come meet. It was a Friday night. I'm sorry, Friday night. We met him at 5 o'clock. By 5:30, Teresa and Petro had him situated in a place to stay, nice warm bed, and on his way to get an apartment. And I had a job for him already the next morning that he showed up to it, and he's still there. So that's one case at a time. My office will be open every day, every week to help people like that for different situations. But whatever we got to do, we're going to do. My office will always be open. I'm not going to delegate my work to anybody and just let them do it on their own. I'm going to be part of all the delegation. I'm going to oversee all the delegation to make sure it's carried through to the fullest.
If I might follow up on that question, the major departments generally people think of when they think of City Hall, include the school department, the Department of Public Works, public safety, fire, police, and then they get into functional things like the treasurer, so forth, and the clerk. Will there be a lot of turnover you anticipate thinking about those positions? And where you think there might be turnover, what would be your plans?
My plan is there's going to be a big turnover. If you're not the right person for the job, you don't have a job in the city of Somerville. There's not going to be, he's my friend. He donated to me. He did this, he did that. I'm not like that. If you can't do the job, you're not going to have that job. If that job's not done right, you're not going to lose that. You're going to definitely lose that job. I want dependable, capable people. I don't care if you're my friend. Just look at I got a call the other day from a constituent, Elio LaRusso. They were infringing on his property rights, taking down his father's wall. It was overlapping his property 2 feet. They were tearing the property down. And that developer, find out, he was one of my donors. I don't care. I still went after him. I think 1 million people already saw that video I posted 2 weeks ago on Broadway. I went after and exposed it. Nobody's going to be safe. No one's going to have refuge. Just because you donated to me, you're a friend of mine, you're a friend of my brother, you're a friend of anybody. That don't matter. That don't matter. Because I'm going to do the right thing. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I don't cover up nothing. I speak the truth. So if you're doing something wrong, get ready to be exposed.
All right, I'm gonna come back to a hand raised. I'd like to see a hand raised from someone who hasn't done it yet, hasn't raised their hand yet to consider doing so. I'll give you a minute or two to do that.
I think Kevin's got his hand up, Steve.
Who's that?
Kevin Gatlin.
Mr. Gatlin.
Thank you. Billy, just to follow up, earlier you had talked about a number of comments about trying to assist businesses in various ways. This is sort of a chamber question in a way, but it affects all businesses in the city. One of the things we've had difficulty with for a number of years now is the city may be working on some sort of initiative, and these things take weeks and months to progress and develop. And eventually they make a city council meeting where everyone can come forth and speak their mind about it. Oftentimes, by the time it makes it to a city council meeting, you go to speak there and you have 2 minutes and that's it. That's your shot. You can send a letter in that the city councilors need to consider. But the problem that we have with a lot of that is that with the momentum that goes behind coming up with new ordinances and new ways of doing things, as I said before, it takes many months to develop. And by the time it makes a city council meeting, that momentum, the work is 90% done, and it's very difficult to change something. What efforts can you make as mayor to try to bring businesses into the fold much earlier in the process when you're trying to plan and develop certain ordinances and certain ways of doing things, rather than leaving their voice to the last 2 minutes at a city council meeting?
There's too much bureaucracy in the city. It's too much. I'll have an open door policy. People will be able to walk into the mayor's office, tell me what the problem is, where they're having the setback, what's taking so long, who's not listening to you. Our city councilors, they should be doing a lot more than they do right now. They should be doing twice or 3 times as much. But now I even heard they're even looking for raises, increases in their budgets, and they want to be staffed. You know, I have friends in New Hampshire who are state representatives. You know what a state rep gets in New Hampshire for pay? Do you know what he gets? He gets a free easy pass from the state, a free easy pass for his own automobile. That's it. These city councils get a $40,000 plus stipend. Now they're asking for an increase. Now, and they're asking to be staffed, which is totally ridiculous. But they're not doing their job. They should listen to the people they represent instead of walking away from them and tying them up. Like I said, that goes back to inspectional services again. Inspectional services. Why does it take 6 months? Why does it take 6 months to re-inspect an electrical outlet or an electrical job? That's ridiculous. It's bureaucracy and it's worst. And that's happening in the city of Summer with our city council, with our state representatives. It's happening throughout the city. I'm going to change it. Like I said, I keep repeating it, but I'm going to have an open door policy. You got a problem, I'm going to be there for it. And everybody has my cell phone number. My cell phone number is on my website. It's in the newspaper. I answer my phone every day. I don't give it to somebody else to answer it for me. I'm on hands on deck when I do something boots on the ground. And everyone's going to have a fair shot.
Okay, anybody else like to raise their hand for a question? I have a question on chat. Isn't it hard to find a spot? This is from David Wallace. Hard to find a spot to park a Hummer.
Well, actually, a Hummer is shorter than a car. If you look at it, my Hummer is shorter than a pickup truck. So again, we're getting with the Hummer thing. And I'm going to tell everybody to, everybody follows me around. They call it the Tauro mobile. I have a black one and I have a red one. But there's a reason why I drive a Hummer. It's not to burn up gas to be a show off. I carry 2,000 pounds of newspapers in there every week. 2,000 pounds. Then on every Saturday, I deliver 500 cases of groceries to our senior, our elderly, and our veterans. Okay, they come to my food drive from every Saturday from 12 to 2. From 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock every Saturday, rain, shine, or 90-degree weather. We fill up U-Haul trucks and my 2 Hummers to the top, pulling trailers, delivering those well-needed groceries to our seniors. I deliver them to every senior house in the city every single week, including this past Saturday. You saw my Hummer in many shots delivering the groceries to all the senior homes, and that was me dressed like a wet rat in a wet raincoat. That was me. So that's why I drive a Hummer. I do pull a boat with it. And a lot of times people need stuff to be pulled. I pull it for them with a trail hitch. But I also pull trailers with the newspapers, and I deliver tons and tons of groceries. This past week, we've already delivered 400,000 pounds of groceries since I started this food program back in March. So I hope that answered your question about my Hummer. Someday, come with me. I'll take you for a ride in it.
There was another question on chat. I want to make sure I got this. If I didn't, it said from Andrew Lynn, you mentioned wanting to help immigrants in business.
Yes,
can you give
absolutely.
some specifics in the plan?
Being a son of an immigrant myself, my father came from Italy. He came from Italy. First thing he did was join the United States Army. He became a sergeant. After the war, during the war, he hit the beaches of Normandy, came back to Somerville. He opened up a business. It was hard. He went to school, and he was in a tank corps with Patton when he was in the Army. So he got an interest in automobiles. That's how he opened an auto repair shop. So he went to school how to do it. And I heard my father and my mother's stories throughout the years, how they did it. Now, my wife's of Brazilian descent, and she tells me how hard it is for people who come from another country to work. And I watch a lot of Brazilians. They're hard-working people, but they don't get a chance. They don't get a chance at all. My wife and myself are going to put together a program to help not just the Brazilian community, the Portuguese, the Haitian, the Italian, all walks of life. We're going to help them. If they want to start a business, we're going to start a program to help them put their feet on the ground and get that business going. We're going to show them all the ins, the outs, and we're going to give them the resources with connections and everything. So it'll be an open door policy for that as well. And my wife's doing it free of charge. She's not going to be on the payroll, so we don't have to worry about that. but her heart bleeds for the immigrants. So don't mine. We're from families of immigrants. So I hope that answered your question.
There's a large population of new residents, of course, in the city. A lot of them are renters because most of the housing stock was traditionally rental stock. There's a lot of turnover, so you have a combination of long-standing residents, and then you have some newer, often temporary residents. They're younger, they're more worldly, they have great educations. How are you going to bring old Somerville and new Somerville together?
We're going to have to do it. We're going to try to lower the prices to get some affordable housing in there. We're going to make it, like I said, I'm going to be a mayor for all. My open door policy. We're going to bring these people together. If they're going to live together, they're going to be happy together. It's going to be a happy city. It's going to be a happy city. I think the best way to answer this is, if their apartments, if they can't afford their apartment, that's a bigger problem. That's why we're going to go with the affordable housing, back to the affordable housing. To get affordable housing, we have to revamp inspectional services because we have to make it easier for developers to build that affordable housing. Less bureaucracy, waiting for permits, waiting for this, waiting for that, waiting for inspections. Let's make it easier so there's no clogs. Like a clogged pipe. If you have a clogged pipe in the sink, it all backs up and it turns into a big mess. That's what we got in summer line. We got a big mess. It's one big clogged pipe. Let's open up that clogged pipe by revamping inspectional services, and that'll probably streamline everything through so our developers can make their project in a more reasonable price, less of a price, instead of being inflated and run into overruns over there like the GLX, because everything has to be inspected twice, 3 times, 4 times. And I believe in measuring twice and cutting once. That's another problem. Look at the where was it? Medford Street. They just did spent the whole year doing the whole street, both sides of sidewalks. They come out beautiful, but they forgot to put the mains in some properties. They forgot to put the water mains in, and some sidewalks are lopsided. So measure twice and cut once. Now all those beautiful sidewalks that were just completed over a year, less than a few months ago, but took over a year to do. Now they all got patches of hardtop on there, which are staying like that. It's ridiculous. It's a big joke. It's a big clog. And we're going to fix that clog.
You have, Stephen Smith asks, on your website, you mentioned air quality. What do you have in mind as a potential solution for the air quality issues in Somerville?
Yeah. Well, I think one reason why City Hall is closed right now, the whole state's opening up. Those cities why is City Hall still closed? Are they having some issues with their air quality in there? I think so. I've talked to many DPW personnel and managers who told me, Billy, the air quality in all our schools, our DPW building, the police station, it's all bad air quality. It's all old systems. Everyone's turning a blind eye to everything. No one wants to speak about it. Why aren't they fixing it? Get the right equipment, get the right people to do it. Look at the police station. How many years have they been claiming, just the police station alone, about people getting cancer in there, mold, people getting sick? What's been done about it? Anything? Does that come? Where is that in line? Before or after a school? Before or after a senior unit? You tell me. I don't know. But every building in the city will be checked out for proper air quality.
Paula Vancini asks, what do you think about Somerville being a safe drug consumption city?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. One of my first priorities as mayor is to get rid of that safe consumption site. It's not going to happen. I'd invest the money in programs and treatment. To put drugs in the hand of a user, let them do it on the city's dime, watching them do it, and have someone there with a respirator and a priest there waiting for him, where he's going to drop dead or revive himself. That's ludicrous. Why would someone even do something like that? You can't make this stuff up. I'm totally against the consumption sites, totally against them.
All right. If there's anybody in the chat, I know there's one whose question I have not asked, who would like to personally answer their question that has not been asked in the chat. If they want to identify themselves and ask the question, they may do so. Does that person, would that person like to come forward? Okay. If not, I'll go on to ask if there's anybody else that would like to raise their hand. Mr. King.
Like that bad penny keeps coming back. There's 4 candidates for mayor going into the primary, at least. What do you think differentiates you from the other 3? You know, this is a
Corrupt-
why should I vote for you kind of thing.
Corruption. One simple word, corruption. It's in my book. You have 2 candidates that are married to developers who take up a full chapter in my book. You have another candidate who use city resources, a snow plow and city workers to plow in his front of his street, his sidewalk, and his steps, while you had seniors, handicapped people shoveling and breaking their back on doing it themselves, watching him just do his property. What gave him the right to do that? Then when I called him out with a video that got over 45,000 views, need to say, when I called him out on it, he tried to pull the race card on me. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? He doesn't qualify. My other 2 opponents, they're married to developers. They're in my book. They're in my book for a reason. You know, I don't want to mention any specific case, but you're sure, everyone's welcome to call me. My phone number is 617-293-2016. You can have a one-on-one meeting with me. I can tell you right over the phone. They don't qualify. All that is, it's like being a puppet being controlled by a puppeteer. So if your husband's a developer and has, they're going around telling people, my wife's going to be the next mayor of Somerville, so you got to sell me the property. I don't want to get into private things, but neither one of them qualify.
I don't want to get into private things either.
I don't.
But, all right, there's another question here. Could you speak to what Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate means to you?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start with Stop Asian Hate. I have, as you notice on my Facebook site, for the last 25, 30 years, 60% of my friends are Asian. I have 2 Asian nieces. I have 2 Asian nieces, and I have 7 Asian nephews. Asian people are people. They're my family. So I believe in the Stop Asian Hate. That's going to stop immediately nationwide, worldwide. Regarding Black Lives Matter, the movement, I believe in the movement. I don't believe in the violence, and I don't believe in a banner on my City Hall municipal building either. I don't believe in that one bit. It's not a place to have a Black Lives Matter banner on the city building. That will end on day 1.
As a question from John Mark, as a pro-immigrant candidate, are you in favor of maintaining Somerville's status as a sanctuary city?
All right. I think everyone's been misled for the past 40 years. Sanctuary city, Somerville is not a sanctuary city. I proved that many times over and over and again. Also, most recently, I proved it, resulting in my 5th death threat because the guy couldn't accept the answer I gave him. 40 years ago, Mayor Brune never signed a resolution making that city a sanctuary city. So we're not a sanctuary city. We're not a sanctuary. We haven't been for 40 years. It's a pipe dream. We've never been a sanctuary city all this time. And I even offered a $500 reward for the past 3 years to the first person who could prove to me it's a sanctuary city. Not one person came forward. I offered a $500 reward and a dinner at the Mount Vernon, lobster dinner at Mount Vernon. Not one person came forward with that. So it's not a sanctuary city, but to compensate the meaning of a sanctuary city, I'll have an open door policy where people will come in. They have a problem, come and see me. We will help fix it.
Right. All right. Is there anybody else that we're getting near the end here? Is there anybody else that would like to raise their hand? Or is there anybody who, if I haven't covered everything I should, would like to come forward and ask their question?
If anybody would like to read more about my outline for Greater Somerville, like I said, you can go to www.williamtauro.com. That's William, Tauro.com. And my outline for Greater Somerville is right on top. You click on the button. It's in 7 different languages. So it's there. It's 4 pages long. It covers 99% of everything, much as I can fit in the website. And if something on there you don't like, call me and I'll explain the rest.
All right, we're coming up on the conclusion. Mr. Toro, I want to thank you very much for joining us. I think it was a robust exchange and we appreciate it. We may down the road be doing a debate at some point that we would ask people to attend, but right now what we're going to be doing is proceeding Tuesday to Tuesday. Next Tuesday at noon, we will be featuring candidate Ballantyne, who was the second to draw out papers to run for mayor of Somerville. So you can look forward to that next week. Otherwise, we're going to be back out at our first business after hours since the pandemic. We're going to be at Saloon on Thursday. Everybody's invited, 5 to 7.
I'll be there.
It's sponsored by Andrew Lynn, attorney at law, and the Chamber's clerk. So we look forward to seeing all of you on Thursday at the Saloon. If there's any way that as President and CEO of the Chamber, I can improve this, this approach to the candidates, please don't hesitate to let me know. Again, I thank the candidate, Billy Toro, and I thank all of you for attending.
Thank you, Steve.
Goodbye.